So, you know that get-out-of-jail-free card in Monopoly. It's a fun little mechanic in a board game.
Right.
But imagine trying to do that in a real courtroom. I mean, you're sitting there, you look the judge right in the eye and you say, look, if you let me out right now, I promise I'll pay back a ton of the money I supposedly stole.
It sounds completely made up, like something from a movie. It doesn't sound like a real legal strategy. But that is exactly the scenario we're unpacking today. We're doing a deep dive into a really important 2025 Supreme Court judgment, Gajanan Dattatray Gore versus the State of Maharashtra.
So the mission for this deep dive seems pretty straightforward then.
Yeah.
We're asking, can you actually buy your freedom with a financial promise?
And what happens when the Supreme Court says the justice system is starting to act a bit too much like a debt collection agency?
Recovery agent. I mean, that's the term they use, right?
Yeah.
It's such a loaded phrase.
It is. The court had to draw a very, very hard line. They were essentially asking, is a criminal court a place for justice, or has it become some kind of glorified recovery agent for the person who filed the complaint?
Okay, so before we get to the Supreme Court's crackdown, let's talk about the man at the center of this, who was Gajanan Dattatray Gore.
He was a manager, and he was facing some really serious allegations. We're talking about siphoning off 1.66 crores from his employer.
Wow.
Yeah. So legally, that means he was facing charges under IPC Section 420 for cheating and 406 for criminal breach of trust.
But just to be clear, 406 isn't just simple theft. It's a breach of trust. It implies he abused his position.
Exactly. That's the key. So Gajan is in custody. Now, normally to get bail, you'd argue you're not a flight risk or that the evidence is weak, you know, the usual things.
Right.
He didn't do that. Instead, he filed an affidavit, which is a sworn statement, and he voluntarily told the Bombay High Court, if you release me, I undertake to deposit 25 lakhs within 5 months.
Wait, so he just put a price tag on his own freedom?
That's exactly what he did. And the High Court, they went for it. They granted him bail, pretty much entirely based on that promise that he would pay up.
Okay, so he negotiates his way out of jail. He's free. 5 months go by. Does he make the payment?
Not a single rupee. He completely defaults. But this is where it gets really audacious. He doesn't just go quiet. He actually goes back to the court and asks them to relax the condition.
You're kidding?
No. He argued that the very condition he volunteered for to get out of jail was now onerous and unfair.
Hold on. Let me get this straight. He uses the promise to unlock the jail door, and then once he's safely on the other side, he says, actually, that lock was unfair. I shouldn't have to pay for it.
That is the perfect way to put it. It is like writing a check to the High Court that you absolutely know is going to bounce just to get your liberty.
I have to assume the legal system has some kind of principle to stop that sort of thing.
It does. It's a legal doctrine, and it's called approbate and reprobate.
And in plain English, that means?
It just means you can't have it both ways. You can't accept the benefit of a court order, in this case, his freedom, and then turn around and reject the burden that came with it, which was the payment.
You take the whole deal or nothing.
Exactly. You can't pick and choose.
So, when this case finally gets to the Supreme Court, I'm guessing Justices Partiwala and Mahadevan were not impressed with this bait and switch.
They were furious. I mean, you can feel it in the judgment. They use this case to just slam this growing culture of treating bail hearings like their settlement negotiations. They explicitly said criminal courts are not recovery agents.
Because their job is to decide if someone should be locked up based on legal merits.
Right.
Will they flee? Will they tamper with evidence?
Precisely. Because if bail just becomes about who can promise the most money, then you've created a justice system where the rich and the poor play by two completely different sets of rules.
A very dangerous road to go down.
A very dangerous road. So the court ruled that bail cannot be decided on a mere willingness to pay. And they put in a critical safeguard. They said if a financial deposit is necessary, it has to be a condition precedent.
Meaning you have to pay the money before they open the cell door.
Correct. No more. I promise to pay you on Tuesday for a hamburger today. You deposit the money, then you get released.
That seems to close that loophole pretty tightly.
Huh.
So what happened to Gajanan in the end? Did his argument about it being onerous work out for him?
Oh, it backfired spectacularly. The Supreme Court not only dismissed his appeal, they canceled his bail completely. He had to surrender and go back into custody.
Wow.
And on top of that, they slapped him with a 50,000 rupee fine for wasting the court's time.
So he went from being free back to jail, and he's 50,000 rupees poorer for it. That's a serious reality check.
It's a huge warning shot. I mean, for lawyers, the takeaway is crystal clear. Stop trying to use your client's wallet to argue for bail. You have to argue the merits.
And I guess for the rest of us, it's a reminder that when you make a promise to a court, an undertaking, it's not some casual agreement you can back out of.
It restores the sanctity of the process. If you give your word to a high court, you better mean it.
It really brings us back to that fundamental question, doesn't it? If we let financial deals dictate who gets to be free, you have to wonder if the system risks becoming more of a marketplace than a hall of justice. It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for listening to this deep dive.